introduced that resolution here in the Senate, even accused the majority leader who scheduled a vote on a bill he was the lead sponsor for, he called it sabotage. Well, history seems to be repeating itself, and not in a good way. Our friends across the aisle who've been asking to debate and vote on a police reform bill this morning had that opportunity, but once again they pulled a 180. Now let me be clear on what we were voting on this morning. This was not a vote to finally pass the Justice Act as is without any changes or amendments. This was simply a vote to begin debating the bill. You can't finish a bill, you can't actually vote on legislation if you're unwilling to start. And that's exactly what happened this morning. Well, knowing that Republicans and Democrats did have some differences, even though there's a lot in common, Leader McConnell provided for the opportunity to have that debate right here on the Senate floor. We could have had that debate in front of the American people. I think it might have helped. Number one, as Senator Scott likes to say, to send the signal that we actually are listening, we hear you, we see you, and we are responding to you. No backroom negotiations like apparently what our Democratic colleagues want, rather an open and honest debate right here in full view of the American people. But our Democratic colleagues refused to participate in the process and have blocked us from even considering police reform legislation. This my way or the highway legislative strategy we've come to expect from our colleagues is absolutely shameful. And it's counterproductive. I remember talking to Rodney Floyd, George Floyd's brother, shortly before his funeral. He told me, he said, "Senator, we're from Texas, and what we want for George is Texas-sized justice." And I said, "Rodney, I'm going to do my very best to deliver." But unfortunately, even though there were many of our Democratic colleagues who decried the cruel and tragic death of George Floyd, when it came time to step up and actually do something about it, they absolutely refused. Well, let me just go over quickly what the bill would have done as proposed. Subject to amendments and votes, there have been multiple opportunities to stop the bill if it wasn't heading in a direction they liked. But first of all, this would have made lynching a federal crime. You know, that provision in the bill was actually authored by Senators Harris and Booker. But believe it or not, they filibustered and blocked their own bill. The Justice Act would have ended chokeholds and prevented this dangerous and outdated tactic from being used in police departments across the country. But what did our Democratic colleagues do? Well, they blocked it. This legislation would have helped local police departments improve minority hiring so that the departments would look more like the communities they serve. Our Democratic colleagues blocked that too. This bill would have strengthened the use and accountability for body cameras, improved access to de-escalation and duty to intervene training, and established 2 commissions to give us a better understanding of the challenges that need to be addressed in the long run. What did our Democratic colleagues do? Well, they blocked each and every one of these things without even taking the time to debate. It frankly is insulting to the memory of people like Mr. Floyd and others, for whom so much empathy and sympathy and concern was expressed, and when the time comes to actually do something, they come to this empty-handed. Well, for weeks we've watched people of all races and cultures and backgrounds marching and demanding action. They want to see greater transparency and accountability. They want better training and education for our police officers. And they want to know that in the end of the day, the color of your skin won't determine the nature and outcome of an interaction with a police officer. Well, I agree with each of those points, and until this morning, I believed every member of the United States Senate did as well. But the actions we've seen this morning blocking this legislation, stopping us from even debating the bill, offering amendments, trying to make it better, well, I guess I was giving our colleagues credit which they clearly do not deserve. The problems that led to the death of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and other Black Americans have not gone away, but our Democratic colleagues have proven they're more interested in politics than solutions. Let the record reflect that this morning the Senate had the opportunity to take the first step toward passing reforms that would begin to heal the divisions and distrust between law enforcement and the communities they serve. And our Democratic colleagues unequivocally and shamelessly stood in the way.